Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Connie and this channel is all about plants. As you can see, I'm surrounded by aglaonemas, so you already know what this video is going to be about. I actually have at least 22 different varieties, but before I start showing you all the different varieties, I'd like to talk about aglaonemas a little bit first.
All right, finally, Aglaonema. Aglaonema is the scientific name, and Chinese evergreen is a common name. Those two names are used interchangeably, but in essence, it's referring to the same plant genus. Aglaonemas are actually one of my top 5 easiest plants to care for, so I'd like to give you a couple of my care tips from my experience. With regards to lighting, they can handle low light, but some of the more colorful variegated varieties prefer medium to bright indirect sunlight. As far as watering, I like to water mine when the soil dries completely, which is usually every 1 to 2 weeks, but I also like to use a moisture meter just to be on the safe side. You never want to overwater your aglaonemas because they are prone to root rot. One thing that's very tricky about aglaonemas is actually identifying them with their names, and that's because so many varieties look so much alike. So what I like to do is, first of all, I use the Google Lens app a lot, and once I get the results from that, I compare the leaves, and that kind of narrows down my search a little bit for me. After that, I like to look at the color of the petioles because sometimes two plants might look exactly alike, but then when you look at those petioles, they might be two different colors. So that's another good indicator of whether it's the same plant or not. Another thing that I've noticed is that names vary by region. Some of the same exact plants that we have here in the US and they have in other countries are called different things. All right, so let's take a closer look at all the varieties that I have. So the first aglaonema that I want to share with you is this Aglaonema Silver Bay. This is one of the oldest aglaonemas that I've had in my collection. I think I got this about 4 years ago, and this is a more common variety in my area. You can pretty much find this at any big box store, and I feel like this is one that every Aglaonema collector should have in their collection because it's such a classic. It's so beautiful, and like most Aglaonemas, it's so easy to care for. The next aglaonema is this Aglaonema Golden Bay, and I believe this might be a hybrid of the Silver Bay because it's very similar, but the Golden Bay, like its name, has a lot of gold coloring on the leaves, as you can see here right down the middle of the spine, and this leaf here has even more gold tone to it. But if you look at these leaves here, you can see that it looks very similar to the Silver Bay. But one of the other differences is that the Golden Bay has white petioles opposed to the green petioles that the Silver Bay has. I love this half moon leaf, but if you look at it closely, half of it looks so much like a Silver Bay leaf and the other one is more on the gold side. Next up is this beautiful Aglaonema White Edge, and this one has dark green leaves with white outlined on the outer parts of the leaves and white petioles. It's one of the larger ones that I have in my collection. I really love the simplicity of this one with just the dark green leaves and the white on the edges. I think it's a really elegant addition to my collection. Next up is this beautiful Aglaonema Red Emerald, and this is another large plant in my collection by the Costa Farms Trending Tropicals line. I really love this plant just because it's so beautiful. It has these deep green leaves with that red right down the spine and the pink petioles. Next up is the Aglaonema Two-Tone Moonstone, and this is such a beautiful plant. This is actually part of the Costa Farms Trending Tropicals line, And I found this one at Home Depot. This is one of the larger aglaonemas that I have in my collection. And I love the color of the leaves. It's like a peachy pink color with green on the outside. And the petioles are that same peachy pink color. Another thing that I will say about this variety is that it does require a little more sunlight than the other green varieties, because in order to keep that nice bright pink color, it does have to be where there's a little bit more sunlight. Next up is this Aglaonema candy cane. And this is such a pretty plant. I had never even heard of it until I just recently saw this at Home Depot. And I think it gets its name from the stripes on the leaves. It has these two-tone green stripes, and then it has the pink outline on the leaves and the pink petioles.
All right, guys, the next Aglaonema I want to show you is this beautiful Aglaonema Frosted Ghost. This is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this one. It has like a bluish green tint to the leaves, and it has white petioles. Beautiful. Aglaonema Frosted Ghost. Okay, while I have this Aglaonema Frosted Ghost here, I want to show you the next plant. It's very similar to the Frosted Ghost, and thanks to my subscribers, I have a couple of names to narrow it down to, because I'm really not sure what the name is, but the two names that I was given in the comments were Aglaonema Phuket or Aglaonema White Rain. Very similar to the Frosted Ghost. Let me show you a side by side. But you can see that they are two different plants. Sometimes if you see one plant and you don't see the other one right next to it, you might think it's exactly the same, but you can see with these being right side by side that they are different. So this is the Aglaonema, either White Rain or Phuket. The next Aglaonema is the Aglaonema Maria. And this is a more common variety in my area. I've heard that it's not so common in other regions, but I've been able to find this almost anywhere in my area, so I consider it more of the common variety, and I absolutely love this one too. Like, I have so many favorites in my Aglaonema collection, but this is the Aglaonema Maria. It has two-tone leaves, dark and light green, and this one has the green petioles. Now, while I have this Aglaonema here, I want to show you the next plant. The next plant I have not been able to identify, and I've noticed that sometimes it gets confused with the Aglaonema Maria, but it's actually different, and I'll show you why. So this is the next plant right here. I don't have an ID on this one. Okay, I've looked it up, I've used Google Lens, and I can't get a positive ID on this. This is what the leaves look like, and these are the petioles. And I'm going to show you side by side with the Aglaonema Maria what it looks like. So with this one, the leaves are lighter. Aglaonema leaves are darker. The Aglaonema Maria leaves are darker. But you can see side by side, these are two different plants. Another thing that you can tell by is that the petioles on this one are white, petioles on this one, green. So Aglaonema Maria has the green petioles, and this one has the white petioles.
If you have an idea on this, or if you might have an idea what this one is, please leave it down in the comments. I think this one might be one of the very few that I have in my collection that I don't have a positive ID on. But it's actually one of my favorites. And I know I keep saying that, but I love all of them. They're just so pretty. So the next one is the Aglaonema Red Siam. And this one is actually another one that's pretty common in my area. You can find this at almost any big box store. This one has the red and green leaves with the red stripe right down the middle, and then it has these pink petioles. And one thing that I will say is that I noticed with low light, the petioles tend to fade out, because for instance, with this one right here, if it was getting a little bit more sunlight, these petioles would be more on the bright pink side. So that's the Aglaonema Red Siam. And while I have this one up here, I'll show you the next one. And that is the Siam Pink. So very similar to the Red Siam, but it has pink down the spine of the leaves and pink on the edges and light pink petioles. So let's hold these two up to each other so you can see. Obviously this one is red. Look at that beautiful red leaf right here. And then this one has pink. So pink on the edges, pink down the spine, pink petioles. This one has red down the spine, red on the edges, and pink petioles. So Aglaonema Siam Pink, or Pink Siam. All right, the next one I want to show you is actually an Aglaonema White Dalmatian, but I've had this plant for a really long time, and when I first got it, it had a lot more white speckling in the leaves, but I think due to it not getting enough sunlight, the leaves have turned more on the green side. It's almost like a lime green, and I actually like it. But I just wanted to point that out to you because when I first got this, it wasn't this color. It had more of the white speckling inside the leaves. And I'm gonna see if I can pull up a picture of a white Dalmatian so you can see how this was when I first got it. But another thing about this plant is that I made the mistake of waiting too long to water this because I know they are pretty forgiving and you can go for a while without watering them, but you still want to check on all of them. And I think I had this one kind of tucked away and I forgot. And by the time I got to it, a lot of the leaves were too far gone. So I kind of pruned it down and it has about 5 leaves on it now. So I'm hoping this will come back nice and full, but this is the Aglaonema White Dalmatian. Moving on to the next one, this is the Aglaonema Hing Hing. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'll put the name on the screen. But this one's really cool because it has these deep green spines, but it has like this lime green and red coloration to the leaves and green petioles. Isn't that pretty? This is one of the newer Aglaonemas that I have in my collection. So the next ones that I'm going to be showing you are more on the newer side to my collection. This is the Aglaonema Hing Hing. Next up is this Aglaonema Pink Diamond. And this one is a classic with the dark green leaves and the pink
stripe right down the spine with pink petioles. Once again, the petioles have faded, but normally they're more on the pink side. I love this one. I love how simple it is, but still beautiful. Aglaonema Pink Diamond. All right, the next aglaonema is what I believe to be the Aglaonema Gaja Mata. And this is such a beauty. It has these dark green leaves with the pink or almost peachy spine and then the pink petioles. And these leaves are so cool because they kind of have like a camouflage look to them. Aglaonema Gaja Mata. All right, guys, so this is one of my favorites. Again, this is what I believe to be an Aglaonema green papaya. I think it's also referred to as a golden fluorite, and I've also heard golden papaya, but I think it may be the green papaya because the leaves are more on the green side, and the golden papaya has more of the lighter leaves, but then again, this one has a light leaf. So not completely certain about this, but I know it is a papaya or referred to as a papaya. I absolutely love this one. Now, this really is one of my favorites. Look at this leaf. And this one's actually blooming right now. There's the flower right there. There's another one there. So these babies are happy in my care. Thank God, because I have so many of them. Isn't this a beauty? Aglaonema green papaya is what I'm going to call it. So this is one that I recently purchased from the Costa Farms Trending Tropicals, and I'll see if I can pronounce this right. I believe it's called the Aglaonema and I. And this is so pretty. And you can see how the leaves vary. Like this leaf right here has a lot of pink in it, and then this one has more green, and then this one has, right here, has more of a red to a hot pink color in the middle with green on the outside. So this is the Aglaonema and I by Costa Farms Trending Tropicals. And like I may have mentioned before, the names on aglaonemas vary, and sometimes different growers rename them with their own name. So with that being said, I'm going to show you the next plant, which I'm not sure on the ID, but it's very similar to this one. It just has a lot more red on the leaves. Okay, here it is. So there's 3 names that I have that this could possibly be. And those names are Lady Valentine, Red Valentine, and Aglaonema Wishes. So I'm not really sure which one this one is. And at the same time, if you compare it with the Anyamini, it's very similar. And the thing about it is that with aglaonemas, all the leaves come out differently. So I can pick out a couple of leaves in this one and compare it to the Anyamini, and it looks almost the same. So let's compare them side by side. This is the Anyamini right here, and this is the one that I'm not really sure. Yeah, you can see this does have a lot more red to it than this one now that it's side by side. So it may be a different plant. So I'm just going to sit this one back here. Let's get back to this one. So I've narrowed it down to either Lady Valentine, Red Valentine, or Aglaonema Wishes. Feel free to leave comments below if you have more information, because I do my research, the best I can when it comes to identifying these plants, but it is very tricky because they are very similar. This is another beauty. Guys, we are narrowing it down to the last 3 plants, and this one right here is one that I recently got from the Costa Farms Trending Tropicals, and I didn't see this on their website, but from doing a little bit of research, the closest thing that I have found is that this is an Aglaonema white Mayans. And I'm hoping that it comes across the same way that it does in person, because when I look on the screen, it's kind of looking like a sparkling Sarah, but it's not. It is a lot more on the white side with the green speckling, and it has those white petioles. I love this plant, and this is one of the newer ones that I have. Aglaonema white Mayans. Guys, hopefully you saw my previous video where I did the repotting Q&A, because this plant was in that video. And if you saw that video, you know the story behind this and how badly I wanted this plant and the measures that I went through to get this. This is the Madame Soroyo. And like I said, I have heard that there's other names that people say that this might be, but that's the closest that I've found. And so that's what I'm going with. This one is really gorgeous. It has hot pink spines down the middle with the stripes on the leaves and hot pink petioles. I found this one at Home Depot. I actually found 2 plant arrangements that had this in it, and I bought both of them just so that I can have this plant, and I combined the 2 plants together. Aglaonema Madame Soroyo. Look at the back of the leaves. Hot pink. Beautiful. All right, guys, I saved the best for last. And when I say that, it's because this one is my absolute favorite in my collection right now. What I think this one is called is either the Aglaonema Lucky or Aglaonema Frozen. Those are the 2 names that I've seen it labeled, Aglaonema Lucky or Aglaonema Frozen. This is also one that I got by Costa Farms. I got this in Marathon, Florida, but I've actually been seeing them pop up in other Home Depots here in Broward County. And this is one of my favorites, guys. All the leaves come out different. Look at this. Look how light this color is on this leaf as opposed to this leaf right here. And then look at this one. Oh my goodness. I'm crazy about this plant. Crazy about this. This is my absolute favorite. And I know I've said that about some of the other ones too, because I love them all. But if I were to choose my favorite out of all of them, okay. Can I narrow it down? Let's see if I can narrow it down. At this moment, I am gonna pick, let's see, can I pick 3? Oh, it's so hard. It's really hard because I love all of them. But right now, this is one. Okay, I'm gonna try to narrow it down to my top 3. Not to say that the other ones really aren't my favorite because I love them all, but I'm gonna pull out my top 3 right now. So I'd have to say at this moment, these are my top 3. The Aglaonema Lucky, the Aglaonema Green Papaya, and the Aglaonema Frosted Ghost. These are my top 3, and if I were to name a runner-up, I really couldn't choose because there's so many other ones that I would say is a runner-up. I actually love all of them so much, and it's so hard to choose a favorite, but I do think at this time these are my favorites. So that's all for my Aglaonema collection. Let me know if you have any of these in your collection, and also if you have any other ones in your collection that I should look out for, which ones were your favorites, and also if you have any other information on the identity of some of the ones that I wasn't sure about, please leave it in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Honestly, without you guys, I would be lost because you all always leave me the best information in the comments, and I really appreciate that. So this was a long video, 22 Aglaonemas and growing. Trust me, when I get more, I'll let you guys know. But that's what I have right now, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, I'll be getting my Vitjo shelf put together soon, and so I plan on displaying my Aglaonemas on there, and I'll bring you guys along for all of that. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and share. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.